Hey guys, it's Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk about good mornings and why you need them in your program. So most of us are lagging in the posterior chain, which causes form issues as well as injuries. So let's get to one of the best exercises I think, if you're skilled enough, will attack all of these areas. So let's get to it.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share.
First of all, I really like good mornings, especially in the good morning machine that we've developed at WenningStrength.com. Now, your average good morning with a bar is going to be a great exercise to utilize occasionally because it is dangerous, but I think that you could use it a little bit more with the Wenning Strength machine based on the fact that it forces you to stay in better form. Plus, it has a built-in spotter. You're able to hook bands, chains, and other things to it much easier. And you're also able to do it a little bit more comfortably based on the fact that you don't have to worry about particular areas of falling or having issues. But with that being said, the good morning movement in and of itself, whether it's free or through the Wenning Strength machine, it attacks 90%, or my opinion, 90% of what I feel people's weaknesses are. What are most people and athletes' weaknesses? Well, lower back, hamstring, and glute activation. These three areas, depending on which one is lagging, which one is dominant, will drastically change not only how you squat and deadlift, but will also put more or less mileage on you doing the same amount of movements based on your biomechanical structure. So a lot of times, your motor patterns are set around adolescence when you start to have growth spurts. Now, if you're not constantly reteaching the body how to move properly, it tries to find efficient ways to move, which aren't necessarily the most beneficial for your skeletal health. I.e., if I was to lean over and pick something up, it's a lot easier if I bend my knees to pick it up, but it's a lot more efficient if I just bend at my back and do it. And that's why the body, the human body especially, has major issues because, in my opinion, aging is about efficiency. Your body becomes more efficient and more efficient and more efficient until it eventually kills itself. So what I would say is that you need to make sure that posterior chain training is very, very high on your list, especially for staying healthy and longevity. The next thing I like about good mornings is that it strengthens nearly every lift and helps every physical requirement. So for fire department, military, all of these things, most of these muscle groups are not only lagging, they're completely neglected in the training of the particular person. If you look at your average training for the military, push-ups, sit-ups, and running, what you're going to notice is none of that really affects glutes, hamstrings, lower back in a positive fashion. The next big thing is that most people are utilizing compressive-based movements, whether it's just daily life and sitting, or rucking in the Army, or being in all your fire gear. The answer to this is if you're strong in these particular areas that the good morning builds, it will make these types of things much easier on your body and much less likely to be hurt. So let's go over the setup. Now, the good morning shares a lot of very, very key points with the squat. You're going to put the bar on your back in a similar position. You're going to make sure that your hands are even and that the bar is even on your back. So that's pretty much how you set up the squat. But after that point, it becomes a little bit different. The next part is you need to walk out and make sure your feet are at the desired width. Now there's two different ways that I feel, obviously there's more than that, but there's two major different ways that I feel you can do a good morning. You can do it with a more traditional shoulder width stance, or you could do it sumo style, which is going to hit a little bit more medial hamstring, and in my opinion, a hair bit safer and a little bit more glute dominant. Now with that being said, these two different ways of doing things, neither one is right or wrong. If you know about my system and my thought process, the only wrong way to do something is the same way all the time. That also holds true with the good morning in and of itself. We will use it in blocks of training, but it will not be a staple in our movement patterns. Why? Well, one, because doing a traditional good morning is compressive. It's again why I say the Wenning Good Morning machine may be a better alternative if you have the extra means to do so. Why? Because the weight's pushing you forward, not directly down, which in my opinion causes less mileage on the vertebrae and forces a little bit more specificity in the posterior chain. What you will notice with most people when they get heavier on good mornings, which is also why I feel good mornings should be done with lighter weights, is because as it gets heavier, everyone bends their knees more, meaning that they're taking more and more pressure off of the posterior chain. There's a sweet spot to this. For most people, I would say around 50% of what you can squat would be an ideal work weight for good mornings. Now, how do we actually do the good morning properly? Well, there's 3 key points in order for you to make sure that you're doing this exercise as good as you structurally can. 1, you want to start the motion by pushing the glutes back. If you notice when you push the glutes back, it actually puts you into a bent over position, but it forces you to bend over correctly. So if I just think to lean over, chances are I'm going to round my spine, my back's not going to be straight. But if I think about keeping my back arched and then kicking my butt back, it will put me in a good morning position without being nearly as dangerous, probably also allow me to lift more weight. The second big cue I would say the good morning has is you need to make sure you keep your chest up, and in my opinion, keep your head up higher. The reason for this is a lot of people ask, well, Matt, how do you keep the bar from rolling upward on your neck? Well, if you're sitting your ass back and keeping your back arched, you really shouldn't have that problem. So as you can see in this video, this is the ideal way to keep your chest up and keep everything in the right position to put it in the right area, which should be mostly glutes and hamstrings and minimally back. The next thing is, and kind of talking about this in step 2, is you need to focus on your glutes and upper hamstring tie-ins at all times. Hamstrings need to try to do most of the work in this exercise. The reason that you will have an issue with this as a beginner and intermediate lifter is because most of us are knee and lower back dominant. So when the good morning gets heavy, we tend to bend our knees and put it right in our lumbar spine. This is also another reason why I'm not a huge fan of letting your knees go over your toes when you squat. It tends to disengage the hamstring and the glute, causing the body to go to less muscle tissue to do the exact same movement. So these are some key points that I feel are huge in making sure that the good morning is not only a good exercise for you to do, but also a safe one. If I were to choose good mornings on a consistent basis, it would be with our Winning Strength Good Morning machine. And I would also consider doing it, as you can see in my recent Instagram posts, and also we're showing here, doing it with hanging kettlebells on a bamboo bar. The reason that I like this is because it causes more instability in allowing you, or actually not allowing you, to lift as heavy as possible. Remember that you do not need to always go crazy and balls to the wall with all of your lifting endeavors in order to make progress. What we should be asking ourselves is, how do we make progress with the least amount of mileage and the least amount of beatdown, not vice versa. So if you need help with this, go on winningstrength.com. We can help you with online coaching, manuals, and we also have very budget-friendly Train Heroic to get you on the right path. Talk to you guys later.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss.